What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. And we got a bit of a different video here for you today. You know, we're not doing a tier list today. We're not going to do some sort of top 20 list. But what we are going to be doing is me laughing at this fucking promotion that has just been created called the GFL, the Global Fighters League. I'm going to solely refer to it as the Grandpa Fighters League or the Geezers Fighters League. Pick your choice in the comments below. Type grandpas or geezers for what you are going to be referring to the G in GFL as. But yeah, basically, some bald dude, if you watched Helwani's interview, which I did just for the sake of making this video, I had to put myself through the pain of listening to Helwani talk just so I could get the info for this video chat, or comments, but some bald man made a fucking of a promotion. Just made this got a bunch of old heads from the fucking 2000s and chucked him in a promotion, signed them all, and is now doing a tournament team format, and yeah, starting his own promotion, which will apparently have its first event in April, with the draft occurring in January, because apparently there is going to be coaches for each team. I'll go through the details in a second. There's apparently going to be coaches for each team who are then going to pick 2 representatives from each weight class. They're going to have 7 men's weight classes, 3 women's weight classes. And yeah, it's a very interesting situation. I think it's quite funny, to be honest. This is going to be a good video. Just tune in, watch the whole thing. I'm going to laugh. It's going to just be funny. And yeah, people have been asking for the less serious content, so this is that video. It's going to come across as serious because I'm going to have a bunch of information on the next slide, but we're going to get into the funny stuff because this is an absolute fucking joke of a promotion. But anyway, let's get started and let's take a look at some of the key information that you guys need to know about the GFL. So the set out of this is very interesting. So currently, according to this Donnie, this bald fuck that Helwani interviewed, they apparently have 300 fucking fighters on the roster. Now, I don't know what the fuck they're going to do with 300 fighters on the roster. Apparently, they're going to get rid of over half of them, which is interesting. But apparently, so there's going to be a draft in January. I think it's January 24th is what they said. So who cares about the fucking NFL draft? Well, NBA, who gives a fuck about that? We're looking for the GFL draft here, guys. But yeah, there's going to be 6 teams of 20, so 120 fighters total for those who can't do maths. And there's going to be 2 fighters from each division. There's 10 divisions total across men's and women's, right? 2 fighters from each division, as I said, on each team. So it's going to be a team-based format where the points that you win or the points that you get from your fights go towards the fucking team score. This is just an absolute fucking mess. I don't know what that. It's kind of interesting. Not gonna lie. If you take away the fact that they've just got a bunch of fucking grandpas fighting, legitimately the average age of this promotion is 43, I think. The youngest fucking guy out of the UFC fighters that they've signed, the youngest guy is 38. I swear to God. But yeah, it's just with the weight classes too, with the 7 men's weight classes, it starts at 145. But what the guy said is we're trying to eliminate weight cutting, so we're going to have no 135, and it's going to be if you fight at bantamweight, you're called a bantamweight, but you're weighing in at 145. So real weird, good way to fucking confuse all the fans who have no idea what they're trying to get with your product. Real genius promotion right there. But yeah, what they're doing is the weight classes are starting at 45. It's gone 45, 55. They've got a 165 pound division. They're jumping then straight to 180, which is going to be their welterweight. The lightweight is going to be 165, welterweight 180, light heavy or middleweight 200 pounds, light heavyweight 225, and then they're going to have the heavyweight division at 265. Now, I'm going to show you guys the roster in just a second. But what have we got here? Just some fucking weird-ass rules. I don't know what's going on. A whole bunch of shit. You can read it all. But yeah, very interesting stuff. Low-key, I'm kind of intrigued. Even though it's going to be just absolute shit quality fighting, it's going to be kind of funny. Anyway, though, let's move on. Now, if you haven't seen it already, this is their roster. Alright, they've got a big-ass roster on screen. I'll split it up into the weight classes before, because they've got their weight class fighters on their website, which you can look up. But we got Tyron Woodley, we got Fabricio Verdum, we got Pettis, we got Alexio Lenick, that's getting some questionable signings here. We got JDS, we got fucking Hector Lombard, Luke Rockhold, we got Abubakar Nurmagomedov, the bum of the fucking Nurmagomedov family, Vanderlei Silva. It's you look down the list and it just keeps getting worse. Who signed Vanderlei Silva? Well, no. stop, Vanderlei, stop. I can't let you get close. Like, who signed this dude? I can't let you get close to a fucking fight anymore, bro. You're 48. N-word, like, go away. I'm working on that, chat. I almost let it out on stream the other day. But was Gustafsson not bad? Thiago Santos, Arlovski, like, who was, bro? We got fucking Husamal Palhares, bro. Who signed fucking, if you forget, man, Husamal Palhares, he was a monster. It's just some roided up Brazilian. He would rip people's legs off, and he wouldn't let go when they tapped. Like, this fucking promotion is straight off the Joe Rogan podcast, bro. Like, I'm 90% sure the fucking owner of this fucking GFL listened to a Joe Rogan podcast and just took all the names that he fucking mentioned and were like, yep, put them on there, yep, put them on there. Unc just forgot that they were like 50 years of age. Like, I'm sorry, you're going down this list, and I was like, yep, yeah, Fabricio Verdum, yeah, JDS, yeah, let's sign fucking Husamal Palhares, let's sign Frank Mir. Who signed Big Unc Frank Mir, bro? This man's 45 years of age, he's gonna break a hip. Fucking looks like when you put too many rubber bands around the fucking watermelon, bro. Indented ass head. What's this guy doing in a fucking cage, bro? Get back to your fucking retirement home, Unc. Like, this is so fucking retarded. Who else? I can't be fucked reading through the whole thing. There's some chicks on there as well who are hot, which you'll see later on. But yeah, bro, they got Rebellas. We got Rebellas. I'm going to talk about, when I look through the actual divisions individually, I'm going to talk about some of the matchups that we are potentially going to see. And I might do another video just laughing about it again, because I feel like this is good content. Let me know if you're enjoying the video so far. But I feel like it's not, like, when they do the draft and we actually find out, because there is a good chance some of these guys don't get drafted. Because if the coaches are fucking smart, then if they have 300 people, there's no way you're drafting a 45-year-old Frank Mir who has not fought in fucking a decade, bro. Like, who let this guy in the cage? So there is a good chance a lot of these guys don't end up fighting. But, you know, I was a bit let down when I found out that they have more fighters on the roster than that are going to compete. Because I thought it was going to, like, there was going to be just, like, a tournament, like, they had, like, 16 fucking heavyweights or 32 heavyweights, and they were just going to do a tournament, right, like the PFL, which is a dumb fucking, tournament system's retarded, but I thought that's what they were going to do. But no, it's some weird team bullshit. So if fucking Rebellas and Fabricio Verdum end up on the same team, we don't get to see that fight. Because we're going to see some absolute cooked matchups. There are some normal fucking bum fighters that no one cares about, but I'm not going to talk about them. We're going to focus on the actual fucking just unks. But they signed Renan Barão. Who let this guy in the cage, bro? They got Marlon Moraes over here. We got Greg Hardy. This is literally the washed fighters league. We're either calling this the UFL, the Unk Fight League, or Unk Fighters League, or the fucking WFL, the washed fighters league, bro. Or if we're gonna call it the GFL, we have to change the G from Global Fighters League to fucking Geezers or Grandpa Fighters League. Because I'm not kidding, the average age of the fucking fighters on this list are like 38. Like, Woodley's not a bad signing. Pettis ain't a bad signing. Benson Henderson. People forget, man. Benson Henderson invented the calf kick. ATT. Benson Henderson. Like, I'm sorry, bro, but like, who let this fucking promoter just listen to a Rogan podcast and then like start a fucking promotion? It's the type of shit when your friend tells you, like, yeah, I would be a really good promoter, but like I could run my own fight club, like, low key. And then you give them, you're like, all right, let's make some signings, bro. And they're writing down, they're like, oh yeah, let's sign fucking Fabricio Verdum. Let's sign Frank Mir. Like, hell nah. Let's sign Vanderlei Silva. Who let Unk in the cage? I've said that phrase like 10 times. It's probably not funny anymore. But like, whose decision was it? Like, what was their thought process when they're signing these guys? If it's a deliberate tactic of just signing the most washed fight... Because, bro, like, you could have signed, like, Mateus Nicolau and Muhammad Makayev and made a flyweight division and, like, actually fucking had some interesting fights, right? There's good fighters outside the UFC. You could try and sign some people. But I guess there's just a bunch of old fucks that want to fight and don't have any place to fight. And so they're like, oh yeah, I'll go to this fucking wash fight. It's like, I'll go through a bit more in a sec, but also, it's apparently a 50-50 pay structure with the thingy, but what they have is they have an option of receiving either their straight up pay, which there's no win bonus anymore, it's just you get your money straight up, that's what you're getting, and then if you win, then you get paid more of a straight up show money for your next fight in the tournament, which is kind of a cool system. Like, it's cool in theory, but I swear this shit ain't gonna work. I listened to the fucking interview. This dude said, like, yeah, we don't have a streaming service set up. If we don't get a streaming service, we'll just stream it on our own app. I'm like, bruh, no one's downloading the fucking GFL app, buddy. Like, you better get a fucking DAZN subscription ASAP, a DAZN sponsorship or partnership ASAP, because no one ain't no one downloading the fucking GFL app on their phone and paying $10.99 for a fucking monthly subscription. Like, get out. Like, who's making decisions here? But it's kind of cool, and I think it might actually have like a brief success. Like, if we get a bunch, like if we get fucking Rebellis versus JDS and like fucking Luke Rockhold versus Vanderlei Silva on the same card, and we get like a good actual card and they're not all spread out over different fights and shit, then we could actually get some interest in this. But if all these bums, like, I am not going to watch this for these random fucking 12-7 prospects that they're finding on the fucking street from KSW and fucking LFA and shit. Like, I'm watching this for the old heads that just shouldn't be fighting, but it is funny that they are. So I immensely respect this decision to just hire a bunch of absolutely so washed fighters. Like, if you look at some of these guys, like, we got Hector Lombard's on like a 7-fight loss streak, Marlon Moraes 7-fight loss streak, Greg Hardy's been KO'd like 8 times in a row, Fabricio Verdum, fucking, he's not as bad. I think, like, JDS has lost a few times. Paul Harris is on a fair bit of a loss streak, I think. Like, this is absolutely cooked, but I respect it. Anyway, though, let's fucking move on. So this is this brief little bullshit here with their playoffs. It's like 4 points for there's 4 points max. So it's 4 points for a finish win, 3 points for just a win in general, I think, or something like that. 2 points for a draw, I think, and then 1 point for a decision loss, and then 0 points if you get finished. So that's the point system. And then instead of like PFL where like you fight in the playoffs, like Dakota Ducheva, like she fights in the playoffs, she wins, she moves on to the fucking final, she beats Tyler Santos, whatever. This isn't that. This is like your team moves on. So apparently there's 6 teams total, and then after however many fucking fights that they do or whatever, like season, I have no clue what it's going to be. It's like, you could say left and do your research. There's no research to be done. Like, this is the fucking information that's been provided. I still don't know what they're doing. But they're going to do this team bullshit with 2 fighters per weight class. So I guess if someone's injured, you can take the fight or whatever. So we're probably going to see fucking, I don't know, some random, like Rebellis is going to fight like 4 times because Verdum's going to just break his hip in training and not be able to fight. So I don't know what the go is. But yeah, the point system adds to your team tally, and then the 4 teams with the highest score at the end of the however many fights. I assume like every team gets the same amount of fights, and then 4 people move on to whatever the fucking playoffs is. It's so weird. I got no clue what's going on. It's an absolute fucking mess. Weird ass fucking backwards promotion, like UFC fucking career mode fucking Fight Club. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, though, let's keep moving on. Alright, now I'm gonna skim through the rest of them, but bro, this heavyweight lineup goes crazy. In 2005, like, I'm sorry, what is this? Like, 4 generations of heavyweights. What's going on? We got fucking Ellen Belcher. We got some other random Russian dude who's not in the... Alexei Olenek. Bro, listen to this lineup here. Alexei Olenek, Andrei Arlovsky, Fabricio Verdum, Frank Mir, JDS, and then just chuck in fucking Tanner Boza, Felipe Lins, Rebellis Despain, and Greg Hardy. So we got the modern day bum heavyweights, and then we got like the fucking 4 generations of like heavyweight champs, bro. Like the title lineage of heavyweight. Like, what's going on? I'm surprised they didn't fucking get Cain Velasquez out of jail or whatever and get him in here. But like, seriously, this heavyweight lineup goes crazy 10 years ago. Like, people forget, man, people forget, man, our promotion. Like, what's going on? Like, the guy called Rogan. He contacted Rogan, and he's just like, yeah, tell me about some fighters that were really good in their prime. It's like, no one truly understands just how good prime JDS was. He was a monster. Like, what the fuck is this lineup? These guys are all 50 years of age. Like, no one on this current roster is 50. They've done well there. They've kept the age. They've kept the maximum age below 50. But, like, bro, Vanderlei's 48. Like, what's going on? Anyway, though, heavyweight roster is pretty solid. Again, if it was 10 fucking years ago. But let's move on and we'll skim through the rest of the rosters. It is where I'm confused what's going on, because the guy said that we have fucking 300 athletes on the roster and 180 of them are going to just become free agents if they don't get drafted. But like on their website they have 4 light heavyweights, so Gustafson's the only one there. This is a 225 pound weight class, so they could probably get like fucking Tanner Boza to cut down to light heavyweight, or Felipe Lins. They can cut down to 225, but they said they don't want weight cutting. Like they want people just being able to walk in, because it's a tournament. I imagine they'll be fighting often, so they don't want them having to cut weight. So it's like, I don't know what's going on. Maybe some other guys will move up. Like I would have thought like maybe Vanderlei or like Rockhold will just be like, fuck it, let me just fight at 225. But we'll see what happens. Maybe subject to change. Apparently also they're trying to sign some other people that are pretty big. They've got more big names in the works, you know. We're about to see we're getting Yoel Romero maybe. I don't know. Like we're probably going to get, but apparently there are some other big like notable names, again, notable from fucking 2010, that are signing, but we'll see what happens. Watch this space. But yeah, light heavyweight pretty dead, but the middleweight division is actually not too bad. Again, bro, this roster goes hard like 7 fucking years ago for some of these guys. Like, I'm sorry, Gegard Mousasi is actually not bad still. He's decent. Hector Lombard's on a fucking 7-fight loss streak. Luke Rockhold's quits anytime he fights because he's got veneers and doesn't want to be in there. Phil Hawes, they signed Phil Hawes. Unironically, Phil Hawes is going to win this whole tournament because Phil Hawes has no chin, but skill-wise, he's not completely washed. Maybe Gegard will win, but if I had to pick from these list of names, okay, maybe some other one of these random-ass names who I don't know will win, but if I had to pick from this list of names, I'm actually backing Phil Hawes to do well here. Because, yeah, these guys will have some pop, but, like, Phil Hawes beat Nasruddin Imavov. Like, his skill is not bad, he just has no chin. So I could low-key see Phil Hawes fucking KOing Vanderlei. Like, some of these matchups are going to be retarded. Like, we're getting fucking Hector Lombard versus Vanderlei Silva, bro. Like, I don't know what's going on. We're going to get Phil Hawes versus Like, imagine you told someone fucking 10, 15 years ago, like, yeah, Vanderlei Silva, the axe murderer, that guy who's just running through the division right now? Yeah, he's about to fight a fucking... In 15 years' time, this motherfucker's about to fight Phil Hawes. They're going to be like, who the fuck is Phil Hawes? It's like some black guy with no chin who got KO'd by a fucking Brazilian dude. Like, they're going to be so confused. Like, some fucking midget Brazilian. Like, they're going to be so confused. So these matchups, so this is like the fucking, I don't know if you got, I used to watch Marvel fucking ages ago when I was like 13, 14. If you just watch the fucking Loki Marvel thing or whatever, that with the different timelines and the variants, bro. Like, we got the different timelines of the divisions. Like, they've merged, like, who took the time stone away from Doctor Strange, bro? Like, they've just chucked all the fucking different eras of heavyweight and middleweight together. And we've got fucking 1990s heavyweight combined with, like, when the fuck was Frank Mir fighting? Like, that motherfucker was, like, fighting in the 2000s. And then they've also, in the same sentence, you got Frank Mir and Rebellis to Spain. Like, seriously. I'm on fire with some of these jokes, give me credit. But, like, what's going on? Anyway, let's just keep moving on. Bro, welterweight roster's going crazy. About 7 years ago, we got fucking again, Time Stone has been eliminated. Like, the variants are coming in, the fucking timelines are crashing together, we've merged all of reality. Like, how are we having Abubakar Nurmagomedov fighting in the same fucking promotion at the same time as Usman Palhares, bro? What's going on? Who let this happen? Like, who leaked this? Who fucking changed the script, bro? Like, we all know UFC's scripted. Who wrote this in the script? Like, who? I'm saying who a lot. Which fucking individual, like, messed with the timeline, and after fucking Frank Mir won the fucking heavyweight belt and lost to Brock Lesnar or whatever, who wrote it in the timeline that 15 years later this motherfucker's gonna be fighting Abubakar Nurmagomedov? No, that's Frank Mir. Fighting Rebellis to Spain. Like, who allowed Usman Palhares to potentially be in a fucking fight booked with Benson Henderson? Like, what is going on? I don't think Benson's going to fight at 180. I don't know why he's listed on there as a welterweight. I imagine he's going to he's going to fight 165, but we'll see. I'm not sure. Maybe we see fucking Benson Henderson fight Tyron Woodley. I wouldn't complain, to be fair. There's some interesting matchups. Like, Woodley, even though Woodley's washed, I'm low-key intrigued to see how he looks coming back. Anyway, though, let's keep moving on and looking at these other fucking messes of the divisions. I'm sorry, bro. Who let fucking Jeremy Stevens fight Will Brooks or something. No, that's not even a good fucking compare. Like, Kevin Lee, Anthony Pettis, Jeremy Stevens, John McDessie, Will Brooks. Who else? Anyone else notable? Not really. Like, there's some names here. Look, Pettis Lee or, like, Pettis, Stevens Lee. Sign me the fuck up for that. But, like, how are we going to get Jeremy Stevens, a career featherweight, to end up fighting Kevin Lee, like, a guy who ended the back end of his career at welterweight? Or Pettis, who was a welterweight for the back half of his career. Like, some of these weight class, like, size differentials are going to be nuts. Like, it's going to be very funny to see. But, yeah, this lightweight division, which is 165, you know, Kevin Lee, the GOAT 165er, we're going to see what happens. But, yeah, I'm going to talk about fighters that we need to get into this promotion as well, because that's going to be funny. But, yeah, let's keep moving on. Next up, Marlon Moraes is, like, the only fucking notable person in this division. Who cares? And then bantamweight, bro, Henan Barao. It's time to pack it up, Unc. Like, who told you to come back and fight? Like, you are on a 7-fight losing streak. Don't make it 8. Like, this guy's going to fight Jimmy Rivera, and he's going to lose. This guy's going to fight, like, because it's weird, that it's annoying. I would rather this just be all washed fighters than, like, if we do what if they take my advice and sign the guys who I'm going to tell them to, then that's what you need. Do the entire tournament of just washed guys. I do not want a single fucking fighter under the age of 35 fighting. Even, like, 40, arguably, honestly. But, like, yeah, they need to just be all washed. Fit into the gimmick. Everyone's going to make fun of you for fucking signing Frank Mir in Big 2025. And, like, just go with it and be like, yeah, we're just signing old washed guys because these UFC fighters don't get paid properly. And they don't have, like, healthcare, and they don't have any fucking security. So we're going to actually just give them a light, like, easy fights. And they can just fight other old washed guys. Instead of the UFC predatory matchmaking wing. Like, okay, yeah, here you go. Here's fucking Alexander Gustafsson on the back end of his career. Yeah, good luck with fucking Nikita Krylov, buddy. Gets KO'd in a minute. Like, I'd rather them just fight other washed guys. Even though these other guys from these promotions are probably going to be shit. But, like, it doesn't matter if you're shit. Like, you're going to beat a 45-year-old. But anyway, those are the weight classes, alright? That's what we're looking at. We're going to have more, but I think those are, like, the more notable names, I guess, in terms of the UFC fighters, and then they're going to fill them out with some bums. But hopefully, whoever the coach is, please do us all a favor and just draft all the UFC fighters. You are only going to get views and attention, and you're only going to get any fucking credit or notability from this if it's all UFC fighters in these tournaments. Like, I'm not trying to see maybe you can get some prospects in there, build some names, but, like, no one cares about 12-7. Oh, by the way, they got fucking Andre Sukumdar back, by the way. That motherfucker that fumbled the finish against O'Malley. Respect. Get Chris Moutinho in there as well. But, like, no one's going to care if 12-7 so-called South African fucking prospect Ungai Bobage is going to fucking KO, like, Fabricio Verdum or something. Or, like, he's going to KO fucking Benson Henderson. Like, it's not going to do anything for him. So, let us have our fun. Let it just be all washed guys, and then that's going to be much more fun. Anyway, though, let's move on. By the way, I don't really care for women's MMA much, but they've signed a tremendously talented and stacked, I tell you, stacked female roster. Stacked in all areas, you know. It's tremendous stuff. If you're asking for their ats, get out of the comments, stop asking for their ats, buddy. Go to the gym. No, but yeah, I don't know what their names are, but you should be able to find them. Go to the website, GFL website, and then go to their women's division. There's some fucking full ugly grandmas there, but then there's some diamonds in the rough, you know, there's some gems there. We got some pairs of some absolute fucking Sydney Sweeney level tits here. We got some tremendous physiques, you know, we got some cake on display. So I'm all in support of the GFL's women's fighting league. Anyway, let's move on though, and let's finally discuss some fighters that I believe need to be into this promotion. Alright, so these are just fighters that are currently on the UFC roster, I believe. Or like within distance of fighting, not just completely cooked and out of their careers. Alright, Anthony Smith, Paul Craig, GM3, Chris Weidman, Bruno Silva, who cares about him? Gastelum, Wonderboy, RDA, Masvidal, Magny, Nick Diaz, Tony Ferguson especially, Clay Guida, Michael Johnson. Let's get Gregor Gillespie back out of fucking retirement. We need to get a welfare check on that guy. Missing persons check, please, because I don't know where he's been. Let's get Barboza. Let's get Cub Swanson. Let's get Ryan Hall and his broken ACLs out of retirement. Get him in there. He can pull guard. We can do him versus Cron Gracie. That's a good idea. We can get Dominic Cruz in there. We can do a Faber fight. Get Cody Garbrandt over in there. We need to see that man fight Marlon Moraes ASAP, because I want to know whose chin is more gone. And then we also need Faber. I already said that. Faber Cruz, yeah. Get all these guys in here. If you guys got any other ideas of like current fighters, I know Faber's not really a current fighter, but he's technically still like under contract with the UFC, I think. Anyway though, now, like, imagine some of these fights. So this is elite. Like Anthony Smith versus fucking Luke Rockhold. I'm going to just say, I'm going to talk about in a sec, please get Romero there. Romero will make this so much more interesting, but like, you're telling me like Anthony Smith, Paul Craig, like these GM3 Weidman, these aren't, like, let's do a Weidman Rockhold fight again. We can run that back. There's so many random rematches that you can do that UFC fighters will be like, oh yeah, or UFC fans will be like, oh, I remember that. Yeah, those guys fought 8. Like, we forget, man. It was a war. An absolute war between Hector Lombard and Michael Chiesa. Like, I don't even know they fought, but like, Neil Magny and Hector Lombard, that was a banger. Like, they can get so many random fucking rematches out of this where people are like, oh, I'll tune in to watch that again because it'll just be funny. But what they need to do is approach this as like, you are not a legitimate promotion. Like, you will have no success if you move away from this absolute gimmick of just having old fucks like as the face of your promotion. Like, if you lose some of these guys and you don't have any old fucks and we're looking forward to a tournament with Greg Hardy and Rebellis and no one else, like, it's cooked for you. You're washed. But, like, yeah, keep hiring. Go further down the rabbit hole. And that's what I'm going to talk about now, because there's a whole bunch of old washed guys that you can fight, that you can get fighting. Like, you ain't even scratched the surface of the level of washedness that you can unwash, you know? Let's talk about some of those now, though. But tell me in the comments, like, what are some of those fighters that I just mentioned in the UFC right now? Like, I know people can say, oh, Wonderboy, why Wonderboy? Like, Wonderboy's not fully washed, but I feel like he just has no future in the UFC. So, like, go off and fucking go fight Woodley again in a trilogy or something. Like, go rematch Pettis, bro. Like, get that one back. Like, there's some good fights for these guys. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if some of these older guys who are normally like, oh, I want to stick around, are now more willing to go elsewhere. Because it's like, if Tony doesn't want to leave the UFC, it might be because, like, oh, he doesn't want to go off and fight some no-name bums in other promotions. But, like, if Tony leaves the UFC and goes and fucking rematches Anthony Pettis, which he'd probably lose, or goes and fights, like, fucking, I don't know, some bum in another, like, one of these older UFC guys, that could entice a lot of these guys. And what we need to do is clear up roster space and get talented fighters, because UFC is for talent. We don't need the old heads in the UFC anymore. We don't need these unks, fucking Paul Craig trying to get triangles off bottom. Like, it ain't 2019, buddy. This ain't gonna work. Like, we got Cron Gracie pulling guard. Like, this ain't the 90s. Get back to present day. But yeah, like, that's what we need. We need to cut all the bums and then have the actual roster for, like, actual talent. But then, yeah, send all these unks off and then just make it like, all the fans will view it as like a secondary fucking UFC retiree league anyway. Like, no one even's gonna think of it as its own promotion. Everyone's gonna just think of it as like the UFC's just got their own little side gig, just sending guys off. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if Dana goes to the press conference and be like, yeah, I'd love to see him retire. You can go fight a fucking GFL kid. Good luck fighting Neil Magny. It's gonna be a good fight. Like, that's what they need to do. Anyway, though, let's finally end this fucking video, and I will finish off by discussing the old and the washed that need to be added to this stacked roster. Now, this is not me saying any of these people should actually compete in martial arts, because none of the guys on their fucking roster should be anyway. I'm just thinking in the mind of the promotion and what would be funny. Alright, let's spam through these names. Fedor, Stipe, Kane, Nogueira Brothers, Overeem, Mark Hunt. Who else? We got Vitor, Chael. Get Anderson Silva's old ass out of retirement, bro. Hey, back. Get fucking Romero. Romero's the main one. I'm not even kidding, because he's not washed. So, like, he's not good anymore. Like, he's not amazing, but, like, he's actually not a bad selection. OSP, Machida, Rampage, Shogun, Tito. Get Tito back. It's going to be amazing. Need him in a press conference. Jacare, Brunson, Lawler, McDonald. Do that fight again. Fuck it. I know Lawler retired, but, like, half of these guys have already retired anyway. Who cares? Disrespect their wishes. Fucking Maya, Askren. Do that rematch. Fight of the year. Matt Brown, Carlos Condit. Johnny Hendricks, do that. Cowboy's been talking about getting back to the UFC. Fuck off, Unk. We don't want you. Go fight in GFL. Edgar, Penn, BJ Penn we need. BJ Penn versus Tony Ferguson in GFL should legitimately main event a card. As like the most, they could so market, that would do buys. Yes or no, you guys would buy, if it was like $20, you'd buy a pay-per-view headlined by Tony Ferguson versus BJ Penn, marketed as someone's fucking 9-fight losing streak is gonna end. Like, I would buy that shit. And then ending it off, James Vick, TJ Dillashaw, you got fucking Frankie Edgar, get him in there. Like, I already said that. I think there's so many fucking opportunities here for just old washed guys to like end up in this GFL fucking UFL Unk Fight League. Like, it's gonna be so good. This is gonna be so funny, and I'm gonna enjoy it. And everyone's saying like, these guys are old, they shouldn't be fighting. Who cares? It's funny. They're choosing to do it. They're getting paid decently, and also apparently they have either a choice of like a negotiated pay-per-view share or whatever of like the revenue which they can get, or they can get their straight up purse. So if their straight up purse is less than their share of the revenue would be, they get their straight up purse. But if the share of the revenue does really well, then they actually get paid more. So it's an incentive to like try and build the fight, get more eyes on it, and that'll be good. So I encourage you guys to support this Unk Fighters League. Let me know in the comments. I could have talked for so much longer and just ranted for like another half an hour because it is hilarious in my opinion. But yeah, I put up a poll saying what are you guys' thoughts on it. Like a lot of people said don't care at all, not even gonna watch. Some of you said it's just funny. Some of you said I'm actually interested. Low-key, I'm genuinely kind of interested in this team format thing, even though it's retarded and not practical as like a long-term thing. Just with the UFC, like I wouldn't watch this at all if it was PFL, but just because there's actual UFC fight, get Brunson back too, get Derek Brunson, get all of these fucking old fucking UFC guys, the mixed mollywop, went through a fucking murderer's row, like get that, all that lineup back in the not UFC, fucking Unk Fight League, whatever, get them all in there, run through the whole fucking, get Rich Franklin in there, I don't care, get fucking Nate Marquardt, I couldn't care less. Just sign every fucking fighter that fought before 2010, that's what we need. But yeah, let me know in the comments, what do you guys think about this new fight promotion? Do you think it'll last very long? Are you excited to see how this team format works, or do you think it's a dumb idea? I'll be interested to know your opinions. Who do you think is going to win? If you had to put it, like, have a guess, especially with heavyweight, the middleweight tournament, so heavyweight with like Verdum, JDS, fucking Rebellis, all them guys, who do you think is going to win that tournament? Who do you think is going to win middleweight with like Gegard, Rockhold, these kind of guys? We might get more signings too, so I'll keep you posted if we do. And then also lightweight with like Pettis and like Benson and Kevin Lee and Jeremy Stevens. Who's going to win? And welterweight too with Woodley, Husmal Palhares, these kind of guys. So who do you think is going to win some of these tournaments? Which other fighters from the UFC right now would you like to see over there? Which other older retired fighters would you like to see over there? Funny video for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Bit of a different style. Probably going to get no views because people just ain't going to care, but I find it funny, so I wanted to talk. But anyway, I might do Tampa predictions tomorrow and just drop them late. But yeah, goodbye guys. Peace out.